Welcome to another edition of the Food and Farm Show. I'm Cheryl Noble.
And I'm Gil Dominguez. You know, Cheryl, our audience is used to us going to the end of the road to bring them exciting...
You mean the end of the world?
Well, normally it would be the end of the world, but today it's the end of the road because we're at the End of the Road Farm to learn all about microgreens growing aquaponically right here in Nevada County.
Also in today's program is a Master Gardener's presentation on propagation.
We begin our 16-part series on raising backyard chickens with the chicken lady herself, Janey Powers.
Be sure to join us every week on the Food and Farm Show, Monday evenings at 6:30, NCTV Channel 11, Suddenlink 16, ACTV Channel 20. We're also 24/7 on our YouTube channel, which is the Food and Farm Show.
So let's get started. When we come back, we're off to the Garden Goddesses presentation of propagating plants with the Master Gardeners. You're watching all of this on the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Don't forget the Anything Green Propagation Workshop on Saturday, March 30th from 1 to 2 p.m. Learn how to propagate seeds, cuttings, and grafting. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
Briar Patch Co-op Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 local and regional farms and buys organic produce throughout the year from River Hill, Four Frog, Sweet Roots, Johansson, and Naked Farms. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
Since 2009, Creative Coops has been committed to helping people live a more sustainable lifestyle. Their chicken coops are made right here in Grass Valley. Their innovative design allows for easy expansion for 3, 6, or 10 chickens. Creative Coops keeps your chickens safe from predators, are well ventilated, with spacious nesting boxes, making backyard chickens fun for the whole family. It's Creative Coops, bringing backyard chickens to your home.
Introducing Coops Leather Kitchenware. Kitchenware that lasts a lifetime. Made from genuine leather suede, Coops Kitchenware comes in a variety of colors and has been featured on the Food Network. Leather is the perfect kitchenware. It is a natural insulator, washable, and non-flammable. Coops Leather Kitchenware, chefware, and tableware. Unique kitchenware to complement your favorite place. Create, entertain, and be you.
Welcome back to the Food and Farm Show. The Master Gardeners is a great source of information for growing just about anything in our 76 microclimates right here in Nevada County. We caught up with them at a recent Garden Goddess meeting.
Lynn and I will be on this Saturday. Listen to us, 12 to 2, Master Gardeners and Friends. It is a program that is live, and you can call in and ask your questions to us. We love for people to call in. We love to talk.
It's KNCO Talk Radio 830 on your AM radio dial. Give us a call at 477-5626.
That's 477 KNCO.
And so now,
and again, we're not going to be talking about procreation, it's propagation.
Right.
All right.
Stop.
It is wonderful, isn't it, when we think about that? Yeah. I think that I would like to start out with the one important sort of golden rule about propagation, and that is knowing your plants. Each plant is different from another, each DNA. We're not talking about trees tonight. You don't do that. That's a seed propagation. It's a propagation, but it's by seed or grafting. We're not going to talk tonight about molecular cell propagation. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
It actually is quite
Absolutely.
wonderful.
To me, I know. When you think of nature's ability and through propagating to clone even from a single cell a like-kind plant, it just is miraculous to me. And we could go on that, but we can't. We have to skip right on down now to picking the right plant. Yes. All right.
And that's why I have my sidekick here who comes to all of the workshops that I present. This is Goldilocks. Now you all remember the Goldilocks story, which is she tasted Papa Bear's porridge and it was too cold. And then she tasted Mama Bear's porridge and it was, too hot. And then she tasted Baby Bear's porridge and it was perfect and she ate it all up because it was just right. Whenever you deal with a plant, whether you're planting it in the ground, you're making a cutting, or you're maintaining something that's already there. If you want it to be healthy, you want it to thrive, you want it to be beautiful and disease-free, then you must provide it with an environment that is just right. It's called the Goldilocks factor. So when you're doing cuttings, you have to remember the Goldilocks factor, because if you don't, you will fail. And I hate failing. I'm into success. So what we're going to tell you is going to give you success in learning how to do propagation from cuttings.
And because we're talking about different plants being at the right time in the right place, that also goes for your collecting, because you're not going to find any hardwoods out there right now that aren't in bloom. So it's not time for hardwood cuttings. That's when they're dormant. We're going to fake a little bit of a semi-hardwood tonight with one of mine. Well, actually both of those. But softwoods, or the soft cuttings right now, are on the new growth. That can be done too. But and leaf, taking a leaf and putting it in a media. And in order to do so, if you're going to propagate, you have to keep three things in mind. Number one, you have to get the tissue so that it is still alive. It still has to be vibrant, still has to have some growth hormones within it. Secondly, it has to be in a very sterile situation. So you have to have a clean workbench, you have to have cleanliness around you. And the third thing that you have to watch out for in propagating is the media.
Well, but wait a minute.
Yes.
There's something that I've seen people do. They're out collecting all these cuttings and they lay them on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
You know, there's no 10-second rule on that. You can't pick it up and eat it.
You have to have thought ahead. What are you going to do with these when both hands are full? So you have a bucket, a clean bucket with water in it that you might put cuttings in. You might have a towel that you lie down. You might have a big piece of butcher paper, anything like that, that you're protecting the plants from touching the soil, because they can pick up disease organisms, like especially fungal disease organisms, off of the soil. So you have to keep them clean.
Moist. And moist.
Yeah,
right.
well, I'm now just collecting them.
Okay, we got
I
it.
can put them in a bucket, or I can
Yep.
lay them down on a cloth, or
Right.
a piece of paper,
Right.
newspaper,
Right.
and then,
All right.
and I'm not going to be out there for 6 hours
Let's get your rosemary going. You've just collected it.
Yes.
It's probably wet. Rosemary right now. Who likes the flowers on this for their salad? Okay, we'll leave them here for you. Because we're going to have to strip them, because you don't want flowers on your plants when you're doing this. Why? I got a plate. Why? Because the whole emphasis for these cuttings is for the roots to grow. We don't care about the tops, we don't care about the leaves, and we don't care about the flowers. We want the roots to start growing.
So you notice what I have here. I have my cuttings in a piece of newspaper that I have put water on. And I put it in a plastic bag. Now you can, just carry it back to the house, put it in a cool place for a while. You can actually keep things in the refrigerator for up to a week. as long as it keeps cool, you're not going to start, you know, having mold growing and things like that. So now I've collected these, and I brought them back. I actually collected some shrub hypericum, the types that they use in the florist trade. I went to visit a friend, and she was going to a club on where they were doing flower arranging, and they brought these cuttings from this hypericum that I always wanted and couldn't find in the nursery. So I hid mine under the chair and didn't use them in the flower arrangement, so they gave me some more.
I can't take her anywhere.
And so then when we got back to my friend's house, I immediately wrapped them in newspaper and put them in a bread bag and stuck them in a refrigerator. I kept them in a little cooler for a week as I drove on the rest of my vacation, brought them home, and grew them. Yes, so you can do that as long as you keep your plants moist.
And out of the sun.
And yes, and out of the sun.
This is the upright.
Well, this is kind of a slightly sprawly type.
Okay, all right.
So,
okay.
So here's.
But it's not a creeping one, meaning it's not.
So here's some
horizontal.
rosemary cuttings. And you know, I don't know whether you can see from that distance. These are not really bright, but they do have flowers on them.
All rosemary is really in full glory right now, isn't it?
In the sunshine?
Yeah. It's the same level of blooming that horrible vinca is right now.
You water it a lot? Well, no, you shouldn't water it at all.
I don't.
Oh, okay. I mean, it should be blooming.
Okay.
So if we were to take this cutting here, and we want to make some more plants. So what I'm going to do is look. We might be able to make some cuttings at this time of the year. By gosh, we could make some cutting.
It's not too bad.
This is called a green.
Ooh, yeah, you can actually feel it.
This is a green stick fracture. You know, like you did when you were a kid and you fell off your bike?
Yeah.
Yes. It's where it breaks. If it just bends, like out here, you know, that's
not going to do it. That's not going to
do it. For a lot of perennials like this, you need something that's called, you have a green stick fracture or green stick cutting.
And probably about the size, wouldn't you say, Len, of a small pencil?
Yeah, or this is fine.
This is fine.
I mean,
especially with rosemary.
Rosemary is very easy to do, especially if you do it in the fall.
Yes.
This is not the best time of the year.
Well, we'll show you anyway.
But we'll show you anywhere. So now I have my rosemary.
And as you see, she's stripping off those branches.
Because
what did you do there? You have to remember which way's up.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
That's
so
important.
now I could do that with rosemary. If you have a tender barked cutting, you're not going to do that because if you tear the bark, throw away the cutting.
No good.
You have to have an intact bark on it. So now I'm coming up here. I want to do a cutting.
From every little leaf that's coming out, and those little needles are leaves, you're going to have your little bud growths. But she doesn't want all that growth. Again, we're going to...
So you notice what I'm doing is I'm pulling off the flowers.
Especially
because the plant, to propagate itself on its own, is not going to be by cutting. It's going to be by seeds. So what's it going to do? It's going to try to put all of its energy, if it's got a flower on it, into making that seed to survive.
That's sustainable.
And so it won't grow a darn root. So if you are growing from cuttings, you've got to remove every single bud, every single flower, because you want roots to grow. And I'm now looking at this, and this light is not real great, so I'm going to cut it again because I want it about a quarter of an inch below one of the leaf nodes here. That's where the leaves come out.
And there doesn't have to be on an angle?
No, not the bottom cut. We want that straight across, and there's two reasons, Lynn. You've got those cell growths that is right there in that little bit of distance under the bud, and those are your growth cells that are at that bud. Okay.
All right.
Can you say that again?
It just depends, you know.
Yeah, I squirted alcohol on them before I went home. Oh, yeah.
I prefer using a little torch if I'm really worried about. No, actually, because that's the fastest way. A flame, a Bunsen burner.
You do not want me to do that.
You totally sterilize something. The bleach and the alcohol is meh.
Because it goes away.
Alcohol,
in
unless you soak it in there.
It's gone in 15 minutes.
It's a waste of time rubbing alcohol on there. It does not destroy the germs.
But I will tell you on rosemary, it's not as critical as it is on a lot of the soft tissues, soft cuttings. They're not as likely to get a bacterial or a fungi.
Or a root rot here on these. So now that we've got this like this, and the other reason, if we had just a stick here without leaves, we would cut the top with a point, because you're going to do a whole bunch of them. You're going to lay them down. If they got a point on the top and a square on the bottom, you know which way is up.
You're going to get mixed up.
You need to know which way is up. And that was another thing we didn't mention. When you're taking your cuttings, that you want to make sure, especially if there's something that's long and it's not real directional, things even like some roses, climbing roses, you might make a mistake and have it upside down. If you do it upside down, it's not going to work. So you always need to make sure that you collect your things and you lie them all the same way, and you keep them so you know which way is the top and which way is the bottom. So we didn't bring any root hormone, but there are two types.
I was afraid you'd give it to the doll. No.
No. One type is a powder, and it comes in different strengths. When you go into just the local nurseries, you're probably just going to get number 1. You can send away and get jars of it for $20, and it'll last you for the rest of your life, even if you're only 35, unless you're going to start a nursery. And you have to keep it in the refrigerator so it doesn't deteriorate.
And it is a hazardous thing when you dispose of it. So
and so you don't open your can or your jar and go, because you now can contaminate your hormone. You're going to take a little clean spoon and you're going to put a little teeny bit of it on a piece of paper, and you're going to go
shake it off.
And then you're going to stick it in your rooting media.
Just on the bottom of it.
Just on the bottom.
Just on the bottom.
And you don't have to go, and I've seen them on television and YouTube where they stick it down and it's coated. They must be selling this stuff. That's all I can see. You want a little bit. You know what you're doing when you're putting that on there. You're stimulating, tantalizing those cells. That's what it's all about. That's exactly what you're doing.
So it's a hormone that is synthetically produced, because we'd never get enough if it was trying to collect it from plants. Synthetically produced that controls the growth of roots. When you get through, you take that. If you have any left over, don't be cheap, don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Throw it away. So you learn not to put a cupful out there. Put a quarter of a teaspoon out there, and if you need some more, then you can put another quarter of a teaspoon out there, because you need to throw it away. You don't pour it back in your original container, because it will contaminate it. You can also buy a liquid, which is easier in some ways to use, because it comes absolutely full strength, or more than full strength. And you dilute it according to the directions that come with the product, down to the level that you need. For rosemary would be a number 1. Some plants will need a number 4 strength. So you have different strengths depending upon how easy it is to induce the plant to produce roots from a cutting. And not every plant will produce roots from cuttings. So that's where you have to look the plant up, look it up online. Both Dorinda and I have a big fat book.
Two books that if you're really serious about propagating. One of is David Waite, who was a UC, I believe, professor, because you are not going to remember every plant and how to propagate it. But this book of his, which is yay high, it's over 400 pages, has so many plants. And you go to that plant. It's not only that, it has a key to the beginning of the plant section for the vernacular, because in different professions and specialties, there is a whole intelligence of language or vernacular that goes with it. You see, that's why we can keep it separate. If we have our own language, then you can't get into it. But if you'll get this book, it will explain a lot of the words. The other one, that one is propagating, I think, just plain propagating.
David Waite?
Wait, W-A-I-T-T, I believe, is 2 T's. The other one, and I can only remember the last name, D-I-R-R and Hauser, H-A-U-S-E-R. That's hardwood, most woody propagating. Beautiful book. And again, those are 2 excellent, excellent books for propagating.
And there's one on propagating California native plants as well by Schuller. I think it's Schuller.
Schuller, yeah.
And this is specifically on these plants, so it tells you, whether you're going to propagate them by seeds or whatever other method.
Is it harder to propagate trees?
Trees are almost exclusively propagated either by seed or by grafting.
Right.
So in the grafted trees, whether it's a fruit tree or a maple tree, you want autumn flame glow, so you've got to graft it. So they have parent trees, mother trees. They cut off a branch from that, and they graft it to another maple root, and you get that variety of tree. There are almost no hardwood trees or conifer trees. Some conifers can be propagated, but it's mostly by cell culture. And this is not GMOs. No. This is another way of propagating things by actually taking cells, and this is how they actually come up with disease-resistant trees like our sugar maples, which are now being imperiled by a root rot, and white pine blister rust it's called. They actually find trees that seem to be resistant to it. They either hire people to climb trees and go up and cut little tips off of it, or they have sharpshooters who actually shoot branches off the tops of the trees. They catch them, they bring them down, and they raise new trees using tissue culture. So this is, this is something we're not going to be doing.
Trees are there.
But
Like camellias.
Yeah, a lot of these
Camellias
plants
can be.
are grown by cuttings. Yes.
Cuttings.
And so this book that
trees have your seeds that go along in a circle of life. And those pine nuts and the acorn goes, and it's a seed process. What we're doing is taking and cloning by the root growth of one area of a plant, which you do with vegetative, I should say, material. Your shrubs, your flowers, here's a soft, semi-soft. This is a little bit different from the rosemary, when I picked it this morning, I looked for last year's flush of growth. So whereas Lynn's could actually have been a hardwood earlier on, mine right now is getting ready to have little bud flowers. And again, we say we do not want that.
What plant do you have?
This is an Acuba japonica. Acuba japonica is known commonly as the gold dust plant. You'll see it, the gold edge, is kind of a spotted, a green leaf with spots on it. It's very prevalent in our area. It's rather hardy and drought tolerant. No, it is not a native, no. But in order to do that one, I'm going to also use a growth hormone. And I'm going to, in this case, look and get 2 and maybe 3 cuttings. Isn't that neat? That's nice. That's nice. So what I'm going to do on that one, again, is when I picked this plant this morning, I looked at what they called the healthiest part of the plant. I didn't want the one down here dangling on the ground, all right? That's what she was talking about, a rosemary, one that's sticking out here like a wild Janey. I wanted it within that growth pattern of health. So I took it from the new clipping, and I, too, am going to do a horizontal straight across cut. Again, I would have squirted it with cleaning fluid. There's another thing, too, on this soft, semi-soft wood. There is a product called, help me out, Fizan. sometimes you can get it and sometimes you can't. It's really sort of a disinfectant. I understand you can do it with hydrogen peroxide and water, about a 15 to 1 ratio of peroxide, which will do the same thing. And when you're dealing with softwoods or semi-softwoods, as you're doing the cutting, you can just put them into that solution, and that just keeps them from becoming contaminated. I'm going to take off this little bud up at the top. I don't want that little bud at all. And I'm going to cut the leaves. Why am I cutting the leaves? Well, this is going to be a little bit different than you stick it in the media, which, by the way, our media is peat, perlite. I think there's a little sand in that one. I can't remember. I don't know. It's seeding. I actually took some from our garden. It may not have any sand in it, huh? It's just a media. That's right. I'm going to take the bottom ones off. I'm going to take this bud off. I'm going to take this bud off. I don't want a hem. And I'm going to do this. Because with a semi, and when I, what they call tint it, I want it to do a little chloroforming.
Or chlorophylling.
Chlorophylling. Give me that doll. I'm ready to put her under. No. Okay, and then I'm going to get this nodular off too. And again, I want to make a nice, I'm going to look for that bud. Here's a bud right there, and I want to go right underneath it so I can get that, those cells going. Toop into it, and here. Now I may put as many as 5 in here. All right?
Or 10.
Or 10. I'm going to put it down in the media. I'm going to give it a good watering.
How deep did you go?
I put it way up to the bud. Way
right
up
under the chin.
Mm-hmm.
So you put 10 and then separate later?
When
I can put
volunteered
5
at
in the same one.
the University of California, Riverside Botanic Garden, we used 6-inch pots to propagate, and we would put as many as 50 in there. They go, yes, let's grow. Come on, let's grow.
Yep.
50.
Yep.
50. Yeah.
What point do you start separating?
Well,
well, that's going to be a while. Today is March the 14th. April, May, June. I may look at it at the middle of June.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Again, each plant is different. Again, you'll have to look it up.
Sometimes it takes a year to put roots on. But you know what the curator of the Botanic Garden said? If it's still alive, it's not dead.
That's right. However, you can definitely be fooled. And let me tell you how you can be fooled. Remember when we told you the health and the vigor, that it still had nutrients within the stem? So many, many times, for some reason, because it's not in the right media, because the cells haven't been tantalized enough, the little growth will start on the top, the vegetation. That doesn't mean there are roots down there.
No. So you come in and you kind of tug it.
In June or July.
You tug it.
You tug
Well, and
it to see
actually
if
with
it
rosemary,
pulls.
after a month, you tug it. And
Yeah.
well, there's resistance there. You can't pull it out.
2 ways of
There might
tenting.
be roots.
Where's that cute little thing you brought? That's a shower cap.
So now-
I get those out of the hotel rooms and
The
use them for
rosemary
shower
does
caps.
not need a cap over it. You can just set it outside in a shady place. But for something like this, you want
Because
to keep
you
it
get-
as moist as possible. And so, do you
That's a
buy
good
grapes
one.
in bags that have holes in them? You could use
Wonderful tinning. That goes. You're going to
There you are.
moisturize it, and you're going to put it in a semi, not hot sun at all, but it can have light. All right? I missed my Acuba japonica probably twice a day. All right? Very high intensive labor. This other, and then you can use these too. If the little pot was a little bit bigger, you can cut the top off of this. If it's getting too much steam, too hot in there, just take the top off. You can make a
Yes.
cute little greenhouse. Excuse me?
as often as they need to be watered.
I did. Before I put the media in here, which again was nothing more than the perlite and the peat, I made sure it was like a wrung-out sponge. That's the very moisture, all right? And then the rest of the time, I'm just going to moisturize a little bit the leaves.
Because you want it to struggle, right?
No.
No, I just want the roots to be happy.
Yeah, you want it to be, remember, Remember?
Remember.
What does Goldilocks tell you? Everything has to be just
right.
So it's not too wet, and it's not too dry, it's not too hot, and it's not too cold.
Right.
It's just right. So how do you know that? It's getting to be more complicated than you thought it was, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to do your homework. You're going to have to either look online, refer to a book, and you find out, and it tells you that you take cuttings June or September, that you take it from 2-year-old wood, that you put it on bottom heat, and you mist it twice a day, and you tent it, and it tells you all of these things, and then you'll have a new plant. And so now I want you to go the next time to the nursery and say, my gosh, these are cheap.
Yes, isn't that true?
It is very labor intensive, whether they're doing it in a big propagation nursery or not. The plants are, they sell them to you as cheaply as they possibly can because they want you to buy them. But they have to make a profit or they won't stay in business. Okay?
So it's not an easy thing. They have to be able to pay
their workers and all those kinds of things.
It's not an easy thing.
So some plants, they might be taken care of for 3 years before they sell them to you. That's why they cost $25. Even bulbs.
Right. Even at our plant sale. Some we have as long as 3 years after we've done our propagation on it. But the one thing that I want to leave you with is don't be afraid to try. I mean, that rose bush. You brought in a rose bush. Go home, stick it in some wet sand. Try it. Okay.
Oh, well,
let them go to it. It's not quite the right time, but try it. And also, if you're smart, and this is the last, while Lynn gives you some good information here, the last thing is that the biggest thing that I've had to learn, and the biggest discipline, is record keeping. Okay. I have to know first of all, I have to know what it is. So I must put a tag in it, and I must write it in my journal. I have made up things that are called a cutting record. The botanical name, the common name, the type of wood, whether it's a hardwood, a semi-hardwood, soft herbaceous, coniferous evergreen. Additional information, is this a terminal cut? This is what you call a terminal cut because I cut it off, right? All of those information, the date that the media was made, what kind of media did I put in? It's fun, truly. It looks terribly studious, but it's fun to do. And next year, when you go back and then, Lynn, what am I going to do in June when I have, and it's got roots on it, what am I going to do with it?
Well, generally what I did when there were 20 in here.
Yes.
On my nice clean potting table.
Yes.
I laid it on its side and shook the pot and kind of shook it out.
Real gentle.
And then very gently teased the plants apart. Meanwhile, having some damp potting media in a container.
With some amendments now. Yeah. This had nothing.
Nothing. You don't want any fertilizer.
It says nothing in it.
I've got that there because now that I've taken them out, they will dry out very quickly and maybe die. So I put them over here and I cover them up with the soil that I'm going to plant them in. That keeps them moist, and because I've now pulled them apart. So I've got them all laying there kind of on their sides with a little bit of potting media over the roots, and I'm now taking one out and putting it in my pot after I put the media in there, and I go,
yep.
You want to settle it, and then you
Don't
hold it right here by the stick.
Right.
And you hold it there in the air because you don't want those roots to all go like this because it's not going to grow well.
You don't want to hold that stem. You don't want to, you don't want to squeeze it.
No, but you're holding it there.
Well,
and here are the roots hanging down.
Or a few leaves.
You don't just go like this.
Right.
You hold it there. You put about this much soil in the bottom of the pot. You hold it in the air, and you
in the middle.
In the middle, and you carefully put some soil around there until you get it to where you can let go, and then you finish filling it in, leaving a little water board here so it doesn't run over the top, and then you go.
And you set it aside.
And then you see if the soil is settled too much. You might need to add, another tablespoon or two to it. And now we irrigate it, and it's ready to set out to our growing area in a light filled area, which is, you know, your perfect thing would be your lath house.
Very
You
nice.
all have one, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
You know, it's that big wooden box that I made a funny frame on top. Now, what I will do with the potting media that does, in fact, have some nutrients in it, I will add a little bit of worm castings because I'm a wormy.
She's a worm grower. And we didn't mention it, but I brought this, and I'm going to put this on your raffle table. This is horseradish, in case anyone wants horseradish.
This was started when?
Well, I dug some up a couple of weeks ago to make horseradish. And the leaves were just beginning to show at the top because it's a winter deciduous plant. And I cut off the roots to, you know, prepare. And I then stuck it in this little pot with growing media, not the propagation media, because this is a little bit different. This is a root cutting. And I'm going to pull it out. Am I going to pull it out? Guess what? It's already rooted in there.
Oh, nice. Nice little roots. Oh, nice.
About 2 weeks ago. No,
Oh,
it's been
nice.
in my
There you go.
my
That's
cold
a
frame.
good
Now
start.
this is just cut off. There were no roots there at all.
And there you go.
And
That's what
now
you
we
want.
have this many roots.
I've heard that will take over your garden.
Yes, you.
Well, you want to container it. I always container
Well, I have mine
horseradish.
going in the ground, but you want to
Yeah.
plant it where it will be there even if there's a nuclear attack. And so I
Sort of like the asparagus patch.
yeah. I think I just need to dump
There you
this out
go.
and put it back in. In fact, this is
All
a
right.
good.
This is a good little tray. Go ahead and dump the soil
Is that
in.
got holes in it? No. Okay, so
We're making a mess. We should do this outside. Yeah, that's why we do it outside.
all right, so there I've got some in there, and I'm just going to hold this in the air to put the soil back in here, so I'm not bending those roots all up.
You want to put Did you put hormone?
No, you don't need to in this. That's why you have to plant it where you want it to be the rest of
Some don't need it. I mean,
the rest of time, because and when you have your horseradish, you could just go out there and dig all of it up, every bit of it. But you haven't actually got every piece. And so next year, there it'll all be again. You will.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you know,
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
grow as well in a pot. You know, you're going to pot it every single year. It's, you know, find a corner where you don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
How much horse?
you know, it's only on the corned beef coming up Sunday. That's it.
I'm sorry, I made some engaged to some friends last week and they told me it was already gone and did I have any more?
Oh,
So
my.
perhaps you can actually use a lot. I have a couple of handouts here for
I've
you.
already
You've already started
started
around.
around.
And,
I don't think we have too many times for questions, but I hope that you will enjoy this
I
idea
forgot I'm hooked
of
up.
propagating. I mean, it's wonderful.
I'm tethered. Well, before we leave you, I want to plug some of our workshops. And in May, Joanne Moore and I are going to be giving a workshop on organic pest control for insects and diseases. And you will see Goldilocks again. And then in September, Cathay Fish, who is a permaculture teacher, and I will be giving a 2-hour workshop on soils. So you will learn how to deal with one of the 93 types of soils that we have in Nevada County, or more. 93? 93.
And also, if you want to go to any of our workshops, of course they are free, and you can go online to Nevada County UC Master Gardeners, or just Nevada County Master Gardeners.
Nevada County Master Gardeners.
We have, and it'll pop right up. We even have a Facebook page. We have a sort of a, you can say whether you like us or not. If you say you like, you don't get anything, but it's nice to know how many hits we get. We're mostly our age. We love all the hits we can get. So do go on there and look at our schedule that will give you all of our workshops. All right.
And of course, we'll hear more from the Master Gardeners throughout this series of the Food and Farm Show. They have so much information and they are so willing to give it to our community members, and we really appreciate that. But time for our second break of the day right now. When we come back, we're going off to the world of chickens with the chicken lady herself, Janey Powers. You're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network.
Briar Patch Co-op Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 local and regional farms and buys organic produce throughout the year from River Hill, Four Frog, Sweet Roots, Johansson, and Naked Farms. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
Introducing Coops Leather Kitchenware. Kitchenware that lasts a lifetime. Made from genuine leather suede, Coops Kitchenware comes in a variety of colors and has been featured on the Food Network. Leather is the perfect kitchenware. It is a natural insulator, washable, and non-flammable. Coops Leather Kitchenware, chefware, and tableware. Unique kitchenware to complement your favorite place. Create, entertain, and be you.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Don't forget the Anything Green Propagation Workshop on Saturday, March 30th from 1 to 2 p.m. Learn how to propagate seeds, cuttings, and grafting. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
Since 2009, Creative Coops has been committed to helping people live a more sustainable lifestyle. Their chicken coops are made right here in Grass Valley. Their innovative design allows for easy expansion for 3, 6, or 10 chickens. Creative Coops keeps your chickens safe from predators, are well ventilated, with spacious nesting boxes, making backyard chickens fun for the whole family. It's Creative Coops, bringing backyard chickens to your home. Welcome back to the Food and Farm Show. One of the fun things about having your own farm is raising chickens, getting those fresh eggs every morning, and just having a lot of fun watching them. But how do you begin? Where do you get that knowledge to be successful with your chickens? Well, fortunately, here in Nevada County, we have our very own chicken lady. Her name is Janey Powers. Let's meet her right now.
I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. Jan has already introduced me. I have been around chickens probably all my life. When I was just a little girl, I remember going to my grandmother's house, and I would open the front door. This was in the spring. I would open the front door and I would listen, because if it was spring and it was the right time, I would hear the cheep, 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 and I knew the spring chicks had arrived. And she had a big country kitchen, and in the corner of the kitchen, near the stove where they would keep warm, were the chicks. And I mean, what little kid couldn't love a grandma that had 50 baby chicks every spring in her kitchen? And they were all for me, or at least I thought they were. But of course, I always picked the chicken that had the bad leg, or the chicken who had the droopy comb. Whatever it was, I felt that that was my special chicken that I should raise, and if I gave it enough love, it would turn out to be okay. I can't remember if they all did, but it must have stuck with me, because not only do I raise chickens, I'm also a wildlife rehabilitator. I have a license from the state of California and from the National Fish and Wildlife Service to rehabilitate wild birds. So I think my love of birds started early, and it just keeps right on going. My husband, John, and I have a ranch out in rural Nevada County. We're in the Bitney Springs Jones Bar Road area. Our family acreage combined is about 54 acres. We grow grass hay, and I have to be really careful because I used to tell people that we grew grass, and I got in trouble because people were going, oh, really? You know, can I talk to you later? No, grass hay. We grow grass hay. That's my husband's end of the business. My end of the business is chickens. I raise exotic chickens, not because I like exotic chicken so much, but I sell my eggs as Hopeful Hill rainbow eggs. And of course, most of you know, and if you don't, here's your first new fact. The breed of the chicken determines the color of the egg. So I try to have as many different breeds so I can have different colored eggs. So when my customers open their egg carton, there's every color possible chicken rainbow in there. So that's what we do. Again, I've had chickens all my life. I've known chickens. I've been friends with chickens and had some really great chicken friends. And I'm just happy to have you here to share my knowledge with. A couple of things. We've got a jam-packed session, so if you have questions, you all have your handouts. Most of the facts, and probably just about all the facts, are going to be in your handouts. So if you feel like you're having a brain drain and all this stuff is going through, be sure you take a handout with you because that's got all the information. But if you do have questions, please hold them till the end, or if I get a little ahead of myself, I might say, do you have any questions? But let's wait until either I signal you or we get to the end of the class. And lastly, there are exceptions to every rule. And I know, well, first of all, let me ask, how many people out here have had chickens before? Oh my goodness, so this is not exactly the first time chicken audience here. How many of you are getting chickens because you now live in Nevada City or Grass Valley and you can have them because it's now legal to have it? Okay, we've got a few. And the rest of you, I'm assuming, live out in the county where it's always been legal to have chickens. Okay. Well, since there are a number of you who have some chicken experience, I may say some things that you may say, that's not the way I learned it, or that's not the way I do it, or that's not the way my grandma handled it. There's going to be that. But like chickens, there's all kinds of different ways to doing it, so I'm telling you the way I do it. So if I say to you, do not get a Rhode Island red rooster for your chicken yard, there is somebody out there that I know is going to say, I had a Rhode Island red rooster when I was a kid, and he was the friendliest chicken that I ever saw. I went to bed, I slept with him, he ate at the dinner table. But like I said, there's always exceptions to the rule. So, let's see if I can do this right. I always like this quote because this is from novelist Theodore Dreiser, and I think he really summed it up when he said, the great American dream is to settle in the country and raise a few chickens. And I give a lot of chicken tours at my place. I give them to Red Hat groups, to travel groups, to family reunions. I do a lot for grandparents who have their grandchildren visiting, and they call me and say, please help me. What can I do with them? Can I bring them to your place and see your chickens? So we do that. We've also had classes from the school district come out and learn about chickens. So almost everybody that comes has some kind of a chicken story to tell. Either they had chickens when they were a kid, or their grandmother had chickens, and by and large they're mostly positive stories, and I think that's what brings people back, because they remember chickens as being part of a good time in their lives. Once in a while you'll get somebody who'll say, yeah, I remember my grandmother had a chicken and the rooster chased me all around the chicken yard. So once in a while you get people that don't have quite such good memories. So here you are. I mean, if you haven't gotten chickens, just picture yourself out there right now, out in your pasture, surrounded by your girls. You can tell them anything and they won't reveal any secrets at all. Now, or you could be doing this. Now you say, well, that's a cute picture, but it's actually a true picture. This is not the person who I'm going to tell you about, but it's very much like her. She had chickens in a large chicken yard. And right outside the chicken yard gate, she had some folding chairs and she had some bath towels. So when you came up to visit and she would say, would you like a glass of tea or would you like something to drink, and we'll sit outside and enjoy the day. And when you said yes, you sat outside in the chicken yard. And you were given a chair and you were given a towel and you were given your drink, and if you wanted them to, a nice hen would come up and sit in your lap. So this was a really interesting thing. But you too can use this as part of your entertainment at your property. And of course, you guys, not all of you are rookies, but this is kind of cute because these are definitely rookie chicken farmers. So here's what we're going to cover. It's going to be a jam-packed session. We're going to talk a little bit about chicken history because the old saying, what goes around comes around, is true when you're talking about chickens. We're going to talk about why. Why do you want to have chickens? Probably a lot of you already have some ideas on why you want to add them to your lives. We're going to talk about some chicken terms so that when you go to the feed store, you can sound like you know what you're talking about. We're going to talk about the different breeds, and don't think that this is nap time when we talk about different breeds, because different breeds of chickens have different characteristics and some of them just do not work for the backyard chicken farmer. I'm going to give you my recommendations for what I think are some great chickens to start out with. We're going to talk about what you need for the coop in the yard, and since you live in Nevada County, we do need to talk about predators because they are there. Okay, let's talk about chicken beginnings. You know, chickens started, everyone agrees that they started back with the jungle fowl of Southeast Asia. And the people who lived there, it didn't take them long to discover that jungle fowl chickens taste pretty good, and their eggs are good too. But there was some problems with the jungle fowl. First of all, they could run really fast. And not only could they run, but they could fly. So after a while, the natives got to thinking, this is kind of crazy to go out every day and chase these chickens around the jungle to have my Sunday dinner. So somebody, some smart someone said, instead of chasing them around every day, why don't we catch a bunch of them and put them in a pen and we'll have them handy. And that way, whenever we need eggs, they'll be there. Or if we're in the mood for some fried chicken or roasted chicken, then we can go right out and get it. And so that's how chickens came into our lives. And of course now things have gotten a lot more techy. We don't have to go out in the jungle and grab our chickens and put them in our chicken pen. But I just put this in because I am amazed at how techy chicken industry has gotten. I mean, look at this thing. This is an automatic chicken catcher. Now, I'm from Arkansas, the home of Tyson Foods. We have chicken broiler houses all over the place, and it used to be the thing when you were a young guy or a college student looking for extra money, you could get a job as a chicken catcher. And what you would do is you would go in the broiler house at night, because chickens don't see well at night, and this is the best time to catch them. And you were supposed to gather up the chickens and take them and put them out in the truck to be hauled to the market. Well, no one lasted long as a chicken catcher because it was kind of dangerous work. First of all, the chickens aren't happy about being awakened in the middle of the night. And so you come out, you've got scratches on your arms, you've got you've got picks, you've got feathers in your hair, plus there's all kinds of chicken dander going around. So someone has brought this up. Now, I don't know exactly how it works, but it must be sort of an interesting thing to see. You know, it looks sort of like a vacuum cleaner, but anyway, the chickens have come a long way from the old jungle days. But you know, when we first started having chickens in our lives, they were more than just chickens that were out in the yard or in a pen. They were really part of a family. Farmers' wives, they live out in the big acreages, and maybe they didn't see too many people. Maybe they only got to go into town once a week, you know, when they did their big shopping. Chickens were who they could talk to. They were their friends, and this was a great chore for the kids to keep them out of trouble. They didn't have to worry about their kids being down at the video game store or sitting in the house too long playing video games. They were out there with the animals. But something happened. Before World War II, it was very common for people to have backyard chickens. And if they didn't have a backyard chicken, your neighbor had backyard chickens, so you could get eggs from your neighbor. But after World War II, we had a boom, a population boom. The soldiers were coming back from the war. They were starting families. There were a lot more people coming along who are now called the baby boomers. And trying to do chickens in your backyard, there just wasn't enough chickens and enough eggs. So they got the idea that they would make it into a real business. So this is what we see now today when you drive out and you see those big chicken houses. They have anywhere from 20 to 25,000 chickens in these houses. Now these chickens are not fed like the way they were back in our grandma's, our great-grandma's day. Here's how they're fed today. They're fed automatically. There are machines that go down the aisles and put the chicken feed in the troughs for the chickens to eat. The eggs just slide down into a conveyor belt and taken out to be cleaned and put into the egg cartons. It's possible for a chick who is raised in one of these broiler houses or egg-laying factories to never be touched by a human being their entire lives. So it's an automated process. It's not what people have always wanted to have because even though we get a lot of eggs, we get a lot of chickens out of that, it's not so good for the chickens.
And while we're on the subject of chickens, it's time for our weekly giveaway. And this week we're going to feed you. We have a dozen fresh farm fresh eggs
from the Food and Farm Show.
So just be the third email at foodandfarmshow@gmail.com and you'll win breakfast on us from the Food and Farm Show.
Well, that's the end of our show today from the End of the Road Farm. We sure are glad that you stopped by and spent a few minutes with us here on the Food and Farm Show.
And be sure to watch us every week, Mondays at 6:30 p.m. NCTV Channel 11 and Sunlink 16 and ACTV Channel 20. You can also find us 24/7 on the YouTube channel, The Food and Farm Show, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter, so get in the conversation, share your experiences and photos with us. And we can also find us on our website, thefoodandfarmshow.com. So we will see you next time on The Food and Farm Show.
Be sure to join us each week right here on NCTV Channel 11 at 6:30 to 7:30, and of course on our YouTube channel, The Food and Farm Show.